This is a ground stroke drill where we're going to be working on what we call the V's. You can have a forward V or a backward V. First couple of balls, you're going to see a parent feed a ball. This is a toss drill. You don't need a racket to allow the player to work on their square stances and pivots. So we're going to start with the forehand here. We're going to toss the ball, allow the player to move inwards. All right, this ball doesn't need to be deep. You can even bring the toss even down a little bit more to let them square off. You want them to be able to step forward into this shot and pivot through. Last couple to the forehand. Now, if you see your child kind of doing their opens, it's not that it's just wrong or anything, but what we're practicing on is our short ball. So we don't necessarily want this ball to bounce up too high. So when we feed it, not only are we trying to feed it short, we're trying to have the ball stay low. All right, now we're gonna go to the backhand after this shot. So after you give them a couple of shots to the forehand, it's gonna be the same thing with the backhand. Pivot on through for me, Julia. Practicing the down the line right now. So that way the feeder doesn't get hit. Nice and smooth. Brush up for me now. Put a better slot. Stop. All right, so these again are our forward V's. Go ahead. So we started off to where, go ahead, John. So the backhand, we isolated. We went just to the forehand side to warm it up. Now we're going just to the backhand side. And now after this last one, we're gonna mix it up between forehands and backhands. Start mixing it up. Now make it a little bit more challenge. It's not about power. Make the shot. All right, last two. 1 and 2. Perfect. So the next type of V's are our backward V's. This is when the player is being pushed back, but still you're trying to move them when you're tossing this ball. Move them where they're moving back diagonally. The feeder, it's okay if the ball lands past the baseline. And if you can get it here, that's great. But if you don't, no big deal. All right. You still want to kind of have the player hit down the line just to make sure that the feeder doesn't get hit. All right, here we go. So high, deep ball. You want to push her back some more. Even further, even further. There you go. No. We're not going off the rise right now. I want you to go back. Here we go. So going back. That's it. So after we've warmed up forehand last time, now we're going to switch to the backhand. Two more. Now we're going to go to both sides. So hit, get back to the center line, feed again. Even deeper for me, John. Go past the baseline. How does the ball land past? There we go. Push her back. She's not going to push back. Go back like a V. It's a V. There you go. Moving in. That's perfect. Good movement. All right. Last one. And stop. All right, so the third progression for this drill is where we combine the forward V's and the backward V's, okay? So this time, the feeder, the parent, is going to mix it up. Bring her in, let her recover, push her back. Bring her in, move her forward, recover, push her back. So this is one of those, this is the third progression where you can send the ball anywhere. But I do want you thinking about having the player move like a V. Like a V. All right, here we go. Last two. And last one. Excellent. Okay. So here's another ground stroke drill that works on what we call smiles or smiling. A smile is basically a foot pattern where you sidestep the ball and then square off. Okay, so that's where we have the idea of the smile. Okay, so we sidestep, square off and hit, and then recover. Sidestep, square off, and hit. So what you're gonna need is someone to feed this ball straight down the center line. You want to kind of be aiming for the player. All right, so to force them to sidestep and then square off. Here's a demonstration. All right, to the forehands, and then move to your left. Yep, that's it. Nice. All right, two more. So right now, we're starting this off just hitting to the forehand. We can take that basket, move to your right. Now we're gonna do this to where they only hit the backhand shot. Working on their sidestepping to their right and squaring off. Yep. Right. Last three. 2 and 1. All right, so now you're gonna kind of mix it up. So our third progression would be to where you mix it up every time. Forehand, and then move this way and do your backhand, okay? So let's do our third progression of smiles. All right, now to your left. That's it, moving in. Same thing, mixing up, keep that pattern. And bring them in a little bit more. So let's say if I jumped in here real quick. Okay, good. Let me jump in here for a second. Let me jump in here for this one. So sometimes, again, you want to make them work. I'm going to make you do your forehand. Okay? Let them come forward more. All right? Yeah, so again, now backhand. You know, make it even shorter of a ball. Now, to make it even more challenging, forehand, to make it more challenging, instead of right at them, maybe more off to their side even more to make them work for it. There we go. Off to the side. That's supposed to be your backhand. Backhand smile. So really curl around a little bit more. So if you want to make this drill a little bit more intensive, instead of just right at them, maybe kind of throw off to over here a little bit. So instead of having the ball land here, have the ball land to the outside a little bit more, to where they would really, if I was doing my forehand smile, I would really have to work to get that shot. If I'm doing my backhand smile, I would really have to work to get that shot, okay? So you can always kind of start right at them and then feed the ball to where it's further away, okay? Hand. That's it. You got the hang of it, mama. 3, 4, 5, ready? Look to your hand. That's it. You got the hang of it, mama. All right, perfect. The next ground stroke drill we're going to work on is called our hop in, hop throughs. This is where the player hops into a square and then hops through their square to hit this particular ground stroke. You use this technique when you're working on your approach shot. So we're going to have the feeder again. This is a ball toss type of feed for the parent to do, or the partner player. The player is going to start off on the center line. You're going to need a short feed that forces the player to come forward so they can work on their hop in and hop throughs. Jason's going to demonstrate how this is done. Here we go. Are you left-handed or right-handed? Okay. And let's slow this down a little bit, let him recover, give some time, and now go. Make sure you land on that front left leg now, Jason. Last couple. So you can see in this drill, we're just a little bit behind the service line. We're really forcing the player to move in. The feed is something that is not bouncing up, it is staying low. Okay, it's not bouncing up. Last one or two, and then we're going to go to the baseline. All right, perfect. Let's go to the other side. Now, as always, when you're doing these drills, kind of start off on one wing or one side first. So we just did the forehand. Now we're going to do the backhand. So you always want to progress these little ball toss drills. Here we go. Same thing. Good. All right, two more. And last one. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to progress this to where we're going to both sides. So we're going to put the basket in between the player. So now you're going to have it to where, same thing, but you're going to be tossing more outside. So I'm going to do two tosses so you can stand behind me. All right, you ready? Here's for the first one, but you still got to make sure he comes in. All right, you want to get it off to the side so he has no way of hitting. All right, here we go. Yeah, exactly. So now we're going to mix this up to where we're tossing to the outside pretty deeply. You want to make sure you toss it to the outside enough to where the player doesn't accidentally hit you since you're in the middle. All right, last three, two, and you want to allow the player, let him recover, let him get back to the center line before you feed that next shot. Perfect. Now, the last thing we would do, although we're not going to do it right here, is where you go to the other side of the net and feed the ball, whether with the racket or overhand throw or underhand throw, whatever feels comfortable, and allow the player to work on seeing the ball come from the other side of the net, but still having to move in, do their hop in, hop through, and hit that approach shot. This ground stroke drill is called hitting off the rise. You're going to want to toss this ball high and deep to the player. The ball should land kind of close to the baseline, and the player is going to be working on trying to hit this ball off the rise. So meaning when the ball hits the ground, as the ball is rising, you want to make contact with that ball, knee level, maybe to your thigh, before it gets past your waist. Okay, so again, we're always going to progress these drills. So we're starting by the service line, and here's a demonstration of how to practice hitting off the rise. Here we go. So we're gonna work on the backhand side first.